Welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for the first trading recap of 2021. We got a lot to cover today, but before I get into that, give me a follow on Twitter, that's Stock Trick Nick, and then Stock Twits and TikTok, it's Stock Tricks with Nick. But we will be covering all the trades that I made this week, how our watch list performed very well, how the first week of the Tik Tok Trading Challenge went, and what's in my portfolio going into next week. So you can see some notable winners here and some notable losers. This week was a really good trading week. Monday started down a little bit, everything pulled down, but the rest of the week, outside of some noise on Wednesday, went relatively well, up 3% for the week. So quick agenda. We're going to go through a market recap, go through the major indexes. We're going to get to the Tik Tok Trading Challenge, how you guys voted, how those stocks performed, and how they compared to my returns for the week. And then we'll go through both Sunday and Wednesday's watch list reviews. Quick look at the open positions that I have, and then a breakdown of finished trades. Quick disclaimer, anything that I cover today is not financial advice. It's my for educational purposes only, my own opinions. Please do your own due diligence. Trading comes with risk. So market recap, strong market this first week, S&P 500 up 1.8, the Qs up 1.7, Dow Jones up 1.7, and the FFTY IBD's top 50 closely reflects the stocks that I try and trade, up 4.6%. So great week for growth stocks. You can see a strong start to the year. The same sectors that ended 2020 stayed hot this week with renewable energies, and then high type flags. That type of setup also has been doing well this year. Just wanted to note this. I covered this on Wednesday's live stream, but it's important to trade based on your own risk controls, based on what the chart is telling you with price and volume, not what the news is telling you. The news was trying to scare you out of a ton of positions on Wednesday with the DC thing, but the chart wasn't reflecting that. Buyers stepped in after a short pullback. So always stick to your risk controls and don't let news shake you out. Let price shake you out when it hits your stops, but don't. There's too much news to listen to everything and actually process that correctly. So I try and stay away from that. Let's jump to the charts really quick. So you guys can see S&P 500. Here's Monday's press down. So we opened higher, then just sold off the rest of the day, undercut that 20-day really well, but then ran up, closed right on it on Monday, and then just slingshotted forward 4 days green, and now closing above the upper Bollinger Band at the high of the day today, and those bands are now starting to extend. That's S&P 500. Let's take a look at the Qs. Similar story, didn't get as much off because with the Georgia runoff election, the Qs actually started much lower while Dow Jones and S&P 500 started higher on Tuesday. And then this was, it seems more impacted by the news on Wednesday, but still now all-time high closed at the high of the day today. Dow Jones, similar story, showing a little bit more strength recently than the Qs, which is surprising, but nice long lower wick today, but closed right at the high of the day. And FFTY, that IBD top 50 that we cover, strong through here. So Monday sold off, but then just ran it right back up and new highs through here now. So that is a look at the market. Let's get to the Tik Tok trading recap. So this was the first week that we did that. And what we do is from my breakout watch list that I post on Sunday mornings, I pick 4 stocks that I think are the top ones to watch the next week. You guys vote on that, and whatever the distribution of votes is how I invest the money that I've made from TikTok in a Robinhood account. Every week I add whatever I made on TikTok to that account, so it grows and grows and grows, and I allocate that investment exactly the way that you guys vote. So last week, unfortunately, didn't vote too well. Almost 40% of the votes went with APPN, which you can see here returned negative 7.3%. The next highest allocation was with Twitter, and that was also negative 5.6%. KRA was the best performer, 17.8%, and TGTX was the other option, 3.2%. And then you did have a 7% or so that you said not to invest, just keep in cash. So TikTok this week, that trading fund down just about 0.25%, while my own account is at 3.3%. So this is just week one, but if you guys outperform me by the end of the year, whatever's in that Robinhood TikTok trading account, I'm going to be giving away to choosing randomly of the comments of that initial TikTok video. So if you haven't seen that video, it's going to be in the description of this, or you can just go to my channel, drop your Twitter handle or your TikTok handle in the comments of that video, and then if you guys beat me, you can I'll be raffling that money off. And wanted to point out that I am now showing all of my trades on a Google Doc. That's also in the description of this video. This shows how much I'm making on TikTok, complete transparency, how you guys are voting, the trades that I got for the TikTok account, and then I also just dump all the trades that I made throughout the week now in here as well. So give that document a look, and that's just how I'm going to be completely transparent with this year. So tune in Sunday for the breakout watch list and make sure you vote on that. I think I'm going to have the vote on Twitter this time, just so it's easier to have the poll close at a certain time and for you guys to share that and kind of gather more support. So better luck next time, but only down 0.25% first week of the year, but I do have a nice lead so far. Let's get to Sunday's watch list. Actually, forgot, I want to break down a couple of those charts. So I actually traded APPN too. I had a position when I put it on the breakout watch list. You had this nice kind of VCP action through here. I tried to take this trade. It squatted, so stopped me out at even, or maybe even a small loss there. Took it again off this long lower wick when it chased back up and when it reclaimed the low from the 23rd. That's when I bought, and it looked good through here. But then Monday we just got it opened higher and then just sold off, as a lot of the stocks did on Monday, but very high selling volume on that day. And then it just kind of it did find some buying support, but notice the volume on the selling days versus the buying days. That's not what you want to see. You want to see that flipped, more buyers coming in than sellers. So I don't think we'll have this on the breakout watch list going into next week, but it's still set up fairly well right at that volume shelf. So it might still work, but that volume's kind of scary. But that's APPN. I also lost money on that, so it wasn't just the TikTok account. But let's go to a winner, the big winner. So KRA. This was a high type flag in a maybe 8-week base or so. So a high type flag, move up of 90% or more in 8 weeks or less. This one was 130% up, and then down 25% or less from the high. This was 24%. So it does qualify for that high type flag. But we do have, let's see, 51 bars. So about 10 weeks so of base through here. I put the trade on. You see this nice low pivot through here after its final pullback. I bought with a break over the high on the 30th. And since then, it did kind of break out and squatted, but never came through my stop. So stayed with the trade. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we saw a great extension with good volume pickup. Even on Thursday, higher highs, higher lows, but red candle close outside of the upper Bollinger Band. That's usually a sign for a short-term pullback, but low volume on that. Low volume on today's mini pullback, so still looks really strong through here. Yeah, so high tight flag, long enough base, and then a low cheat area. Hit everything that I was looking for. So put 10% of my portfolio on this, and you see a couple sell signals here. Sold some into strength, booked some profit, and now my stop's at my entry. It's a risk-free trade outside of gap down risk. And last from that list I wanted to cover was TGTX. So you can see a lot of buying flags from me. This is actually going to be my largest position going into next week. I have about 20% of my portfolio on this. This is also a high tight flag, so 120% up. I think this was like 12% back. So very, very tight on the pullback here. It broke out. I bought the breakout over the previous day's high here, and then it kind of squatted. And at that point, I didn't have enough profit, or I wasn't close enough to my portfolio high to keep as much risk as I had on when everything pulled back on Wednesday. So I did have to take some positions off. That was according to plan, not just because of the news. But then the next day I bought right on the 8-day exponential moving average. And then today I doubled my position. I added again right on the 8-day. The low touched that purple line here, and then it rallied up a little bit. After it showed some support at the 8-day, I put on another 10% size. So largest position I have on right now. This looks really nice. It rallied into the close. It went from minus 1.5% to plus 0.5%. So we'll see how this goes. But now you also have the break over the all-time high 56.11 as a possible buy point for next week. So I might put this on the breakout watch list again. We'll see, but definitely one that looks like it could be turning up here. All right, let's go back to the charts. So Sunday's watch list review, we nailed it. We got a bunch of winners. 5 of those winners were 10% or more, with VERI being the top returner, 30%. We just covered KRA, 20.9. And the only 2 losers over 5% was Netflix, 5.6, and we just covered APPN, down 6.2%. Average return on the week for the entire watch list was 6.6%. And then the market during that time, that 1.8, 1.7, 1.7. But what you should be comparing to a lot of the growth stocks is that 4.6. So we still outperformed the IBD top 50, which is really exciting. So I want to go over a couple of those guys. We'll cover VERI. I didn't trade this one, but I did trade THC. So we'll cover both of those really quick. So VERI. So this is one where it pulled down here, and then I was looking for a possible pivot buy through here. And then on Monday, we got the dump that undercut the previous lows here, which kind of shame on me. I shouldn't have turned my back on this setup when it did that, because when you undercut the previous lows of a group, it shakes out a lot of traders that were trying to just get in, saw the 20-day simple moving average, saw the stock wouldn't close under that, so probably put their stops pretty tight there. A pullback here shakes everyone out and sets the trade up for new blood to come in. So what I should have been doing is looking at that 20-day now as resistance on the other side, and when we broke that on Thursday, put the trade on. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it is good to go over the setups again to learn from, I wouldn't call them your mistakes, but just a missed opportunity. But yeah, tons of volume coming in on this very large extension. So if I were to buy over that 20-day simple moving average over the previous day's high, man, that would have been a 36% return. That would have been awesome, but something to take away for next time. We were on the right stock, we just didn't press at the right time. So that's VERI. Next we have THC. This one I hit exactly at the right time. This kind of jumped up twice here. One jump and then a big jump on volume, up 75%. So not quite a high type flag, but then really nice quiet pullback to that 20-day simple moving average. Had the undercut of a bunch of previous lows on on Monday. That set the trade up because I was looking maybe break over the high from the 30th as a buy point. So when we undercut all the previous lows, it also just created another day to create that pivot point. So on Tuesday, when it went over there, that was my buy point. And then we saw a bunch of buying volume come in. This extended out. I sold some into strength the next day. My stop's even now, so no risk on the trade except for downside gap down risk, and looks really strong. Might be a little overextended. Need a couple days of quiet pullbacks. I'm watching volume on the pullback. I want that to be as quiet as possible. But this was a really quality trade that was on that breakout watch list on Sunday. So make sure you're tuning in for those. On Wednesday, we have the live stream that we do, the midweek movers, where I put together another watch list. This one we found an absolute monster, but I don't want to take credit for this because it never went over what would have been a buy point before it gapped up today. But CMRX, it had that nice look to it. And huge gains from when we called it out on Wednesday, 77%. But I didn't trade it, and it would have been tough to buy unless you saw this on the watch list and just bought it, even though it didn't break over a pivot point. So wanted to call it out, but I can't take much credit for that. The other guys really strong. 4 others performed 10% or greater, while our only losers were 3.4%, 2.1%. Average return on the watch list from Wednesday's close, 9.5%. Market during that time, 2, 3.7, 0, and 4.2. So again, really strong. We're picking the strongest stocks. We're finding the best setups. You make sure you tune in for those watch lists in the live stream. So let's break down a couple of those charts. We got ROKU, ROKU. Oops. So this one, very strong uptrend, pulled back, undercut a bunch of lows here on Monday, inside day on Tuesday, a little bit higher on Wednesday, and then Thursday we opened over that pivot point, that buy pivot. A ton of volume came in. You could have bought this on Wednesday too, going over the previous day's high, or Monday's high, because it was going with volume, and that's a trigger that you're looking for here. So that could have been buyable right through that area. Otherwise, just a strong green candle on Thursday, and then higher highs, higher lows, closing in the upper half of the candle on Friday, plus 5%. Let me zoom out. Roku's been a monster this year. So those are the type of stocks that we're looking for. We're always looking for the strongest stocks that might have taken a break, but are ready to get going again. Redfin was another good example. You see very strong breakout, volume picking up, and then it pulled back nice and quiet. So that's what you're looking for on a strong stock that breaks out with volume. And then as it pulls back, not many people are selling. So this might just be the short-term traders that are taking profits on the way back. And then right when it hit the 20-day, someone stepped in and found some support right along that area. Maybe they were looking at the 21 EMA around there. I don't have that on my chart. I have the 20-day simple. But someone stepped in, good buying volume the last couple days, and higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and we're now closed well above both the 8 and the 20-day simple moving average. So that was Redfin and PTON. This would have been a nice pullback buy Thursday and Friday. Could have done that. I can't take every trade that I call out, but I want to be prepared for the next day. So I usually put together a watch list kind of each day. But you see, broke out on heavy volume, pulled back, nice and quiet. No one was selling this pullback. Right around the 20-day, it had that longer, lower wick, which means buyers stepped in right around that price, showing some support there. Next day, things got going. Everything cooled off in DC, and the markets just took off. So really good action through there. Surprised to see less volume on the rally here. So I guess that's one thing to be concerned about, but still looking strong, relative strength picking up as well. All right, so that was Wednesday's midweek movers watch list. Now we're getting to my current holdings. So now you can see I am 106% net long invested, which means I'm on margin. I'm now within 2%, 2.8% of my account balance high. Most of these positions have stops at their entry, so I'm basically letting winners run here. I did put on a couple new trades today that I'll cover in NNOX and SE. We already covered KRA, and then I do want to cover X as well, because that's been a very strong high tight flag breakout. But you can see now 15 positions open. All of them are long. I have that one TGTX at 20% of my portfolio, 3 between 10 and 20, right around 10, and then 5 between 5 to 10, and 6 between 0 to 5. Some early positions that I put on that I'm just taking some profits on the way off, so they're smaller positions now. So let's get to NNOX. NNOX. So this one put on today. saw not quite a high tide flag, but very strong breakout. So 160% from the low here. And then we pulled back 40%. So usually with a pullback over 25%, you don't want to buy kind of the first breakout over what would have been a pivot because that usually hits some sellers, which you see here. Then it pulled back again, but it pulled back nice and quiet the second time. So that's what I was looking for. It has some power on the name because it ran 160%. Pulled back nice and quiet the second time. So now the next time it goes through that area, there's already proven to be less sellers. So put the trade on with a break over January 6th high of 48.55. That triggered pretty quickly in the day. And then it just ran right up. I think at one point it was up 14%, but instead of selling, taking any off, I just moved my stop to my entry. So I'm taking the risk out of the trade, but big volume coming in. I got in on a lower pivot. This ripped right through. If I bring this out, it ripped right through kind of the volume shelf here. So that was a sign of strength for me. And in 2021, I want to let my winners run a little bit more. That was my my weakness in 2020 and in years past. So I'm really trying to let my winners run in 2021. So haven't taken any profits yet. I am protecting my entry. So there's no initial risk on the trade. Next, we have SE. This is another one that I put on today. You see, if I zoom out, very strong uptrend with SE. Had a pullback from the highs here, and then the second pullback undercut the first one. So everyone that put their stops right on that previous low here, where it found support at the 20-day, they were likely shaken out on the 28th as this pulled all the way back to the red 50-day simple moving average, and that set the trade up really well for me. Had a couple days of sideways action. Honestly, Thursday would have been buyable right at the close of the day, but I don't like to buy right at the close. So I put the trade on. Actually, it opened, it undercut the previous day's high, Thursday's high. And then I said, if the stock breaks over the day's open price, then put the trade on. So hit that with 10% of my portfolio. It rallied up a little bit, and now it looks like pretty primed to go. Maybe it does need a little check back, like I guess a weird cup and handle before it goes, but we're in the money on it, and it is looking good. And last stock that we'll cover today is X, United States Steel. Zooming out here, this was a high tight flag, which kind of surprised to see it with this name, but 173% up, 20% down. We got a low pivot buy on the name. So you see the high of this on the 30th got shut down right at the 20-day simple moving average. So when we broke over that, that was my buy point on the 4th. Right after it did that, it kind of faded again. So I was a little bit nervous holding into the next day, but next day, buyers stepped in, higher highs, higher lows, and then we really got going on Tuesday. Had a little bit of pullback, or really got going on Wednesday, had a little bit of pullback on Thursday, finished really strong, up 9% on Friday. Took some, about half of the position off on Tuesday, on Wednesday. But keeping the rest, my stops at even. This looks really strong. So high tide flags are still working. Renewable energies still working. So trying to keep in that trend. All right, that's going to be the recap for the week. We had a great week. Hope you guys had a good week as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's Stock Tricks with Nick. Follow me on StockTwits, TikTok, and Twitter, and make sure you tune in to the breakout watch list that I put out Sunday morning and look for that Twitter poll so you guys can pick some better stocks and catch up to me for the next week. Have a great weekend.